YouTube, what the crap's going on? Welcome back to Total War Attila. I think I said Rome 2 in some of my other videos. I guess old habits die hard, huh? I guess I made a lot of Rome 2 videos, and so I guess I'm kind of stuck in it. But let's get you back into Attila here. And I've got you a couple of replays I want to run through. I guess the little horsies don't start moving when you're inside the replay menu. Normally these guys are running around out here. Uh-oh, hopefully something's not frozen. Okay, whatever. So, yeah, I'm going to jump into some replays. I wanted to try out the Huns, and I get this unsettling feeling in my stomach, and hopefully it's just a feeling, and I'd love for people to prove me wrong over time, that we've traded sword spam in Rome 2 as the meta to cav spam in Total War Attila. Now, I'm not certain of that, and I'm not sitting here saying, like, oh, my army is some kind of great cav spam. No, I came very cav heavy while I'm the Huns, so I don't guess that should be completely unexpected. Yeah, so we'll see. Just melee cav in this game seems too good. It's good against cav, it's good against infantry, it's good against skirmishers, it's good against elephants, it's good against everything. Now, not every melee cav is created equal, but good solid melee cav is pretty much better than everything on the game, in my opinion. If you get one that has good health and decent attack stats, balance-wise, there's really nothing that hard counters them other than pikes. And no one's going to take their elite melee cav into pikes. Now, that said, crossbows can pull down cavalry pretty quick, but you know, if you don't have a lot of braced spearmen around your crossbows, you're going to be in trouble. So I'm not saying that rush armies are going to be the end-all, but I mean, don't get me wrong, Shogun 2 was a fun game. But too often for me, Shogun 2 felt like a battle of half cav army with 2 matchlocks and some kind of token infantry to battle it out. And really the battle was all about the matchlocks and the cavalry. I don't want to see Attila devolve into what Rome 2 was, which was just infantry rush. And I don't want to see it devolve to what... And again, I'm not trying to trash either game. I liked Rome 2 and Shogun 2. It just seemed like from a meta standpoint, both games became very predictable in the end. Now, Rome 2 I actually felt like did have more diversity than Shogun 2 in the end. Obviously not from like a unit upgrade standpoint, because that wouldn't be true. And I think Shogun 2 honestly had better map diversity as well. But when it came to just unit diversity, factions, and potential strategies, I felt like Rome 2 was a little better if you subtracted, like, you know, sword spam from the equation, which you could do with a few rule changes. Now, again, it is very early in the game, so I'm just stating this as a I'm afraid of this now. It may not be true. It may get proven completely wrong. Now, my opponent has brought artillery, and not since Empire and Napoleon has bringing artillery really been a good idea, and even in those games you had to know how to use it. I don't think that he's going to get his money's worth out of this onager. He's only got 12 kills so far. It's easy for me to avoid by going into loose formation with all my units, and it's not very accurate. So, engagement-wise, I feel pretty confident. I've got 4 of these Nokors, which is a very, very good melee cav that the Huns have. Then I've got 2 Hunnic horsemen, which are just kind of so-so melee cav. These Uar warriors of the Huns are insane. Absolutely insane. I would have never thought that the Huns would have had one of the best melee infantry in the game, but they do. And my opponent is the Sassanids here. Definitely should have had some shock cavalry in play. Now, of course, I had my own melee cav potentially ready to counter that, but I mean, shock cavalry is going to be his only chance of taking down Hun infantry, because the Sassanids have some pretty poor infantry. You've really got to try and capitalize on their shock cav. Now, I went ahead and engaged his Sogdian Camel Raiders. I'll easily defeat them with my Nokors, and my Hunnic horsemen are going to have a hard time, though, beating down his Spabed general. Same engagement over here. His horse archers are firing. They're not going to even get that many kills. This is a mortal cav, so they do have a lot of ammo, and they can do Parthian shot, though. But, I mean, this leaves his Royal Persian archers, which were a high spend, wide open. And he's going to immediately get outflanked because his only 2 infantry were elite immortals. And elite immortals may sound good on paper or name-wise, but they're just going to get absolutely destroyed by Uar warriors. The Uar warriors kind of have swords like the Urukai, and if you can just imagine in this case that the elite immortals are a bunch of halflings, then that's pretty much how this fight's going to end. It's going to be halfling stew for dinner for the men tonight. Anyway, you can see elephants definitely looking cool. Cool unit. My opponent, I don't know if he just hasn't used them right or what here, but my Nokor cavalry has just absolutely pinned these guys, and it's causing huge amounts of damage, and then I just reinforced with my chosen Uar warriors. and his elephants get very little effect here, only 3 kills, and are getting absolutely picked apart. Yeah, so I don't know how elephants really work in the game. So my opponent here just gets absolutely smashed. His army wasn't very well chosen as far as countering what I had. Maybe it's worked for him against other things, but so here's the thing: these Immortal Horse Archers look freaking awesome, and if they get to fight with these spears in melee, that's also very cool. Don't get me wrong, but they are slow. They're only 75 speed, which means they're very catchable by a lot of melee cav. And if you look here, my Hunnic horsemen probably have 100 speed. They do. So I mean, not a good unit to bring against the Huns. Especially since the Huns can also field really good horse archers. I didn't even feel the need to field horse archers again here, because why would I field horse archers as the Huns? Whenever bowmen on this game are not actually very good versus infantry. Crossbows are, but bowmen are not very good versus infantry, so why? I mean, I don't need to field horse archers because I know that the Huns have better melee cav than what the Sassanids can produce. So that's why I chose my army the way I did. Again, time may prove these type of things wrong. My opponent made 2 very wrong picks in the form of these Elephant and the Onager, and then I would also say the Elite Immortals were probably a very wrong pick, especially if he knew what the Huns could bring. He may not. The game is very new, so I'm not trying to hold that against my opponent whatsoever, just trying to call the game here. So if you look at the Sassanids, their real strength is going to be their shock cavalry. They've got some very good cataphracts for the price. Here's the real challenge, though. Every faction pretty much has access to decent melee cav, and decent melee cav can ruin the day of even the most elite shock cav, like Guy and Espar cataphracts. These guys are infantry killers. But the thing is, for me, melee cav are also infantry killers, and they're cav killers. So, in my opinion, I think you're going to see people just start straying away from shock cavalry in the game, because why take it? You're going to have to protect it from melee cav. Again, I could be wrong. It's very early, but I'm making the assumption, why would I bring shock cavalry? Yes, it's extremely devastating to infantry, but then I have to protect it from enemy melee cav, and it's very easy for someone to protect their infantry, either by putting a couple of spears in front that can brace, pikes in front, or you could just keep melee cav right behind them and counter the enemy with melee cav. And the only way to really use shock cavalry anyway is cycling, which is great. I like that. It depends on the charge, but it's going to get chased by melee cav and killed as it tries to escape. So again, not really seeing the reasoning behind my opponent's choice on his army here. Look at these Persian camel archers, 259 health. Good gravy. They're slow as all get out, though. Yeah, so some of the unit balancing definitely needs to be addressed on the game. I like the game, don't get me wrong. It's got some fun mechanics, and again, it's actually just nice to be playing some multiplayer that isn't Bowie Eye sword spam. And again, nothing against Rome 2. You all saw me play Rome 2. I liked it, but that is kind of what it boiled down to from a what to expect kind of standpoint. Now, fortunately, a lot of players who were playing online weren't very entertained by Bowie Eye sword spam, so it was, in my opinion, I saw it kind of stuck in the tournaments, whereas when I played online, I was still getting a decent amount of variety. So even if we run into the same thing on Attila, I kind of hope it stays the same. And it's probably because a lot of players, not all players, of course, are like me, but many of them are like me in the sense that it's like, it's not so much about winning the game as it is what you win it with and how you enjoy it. But I am going to be trying to test out which builds are strong, which kind of units are strong, different stuff like that. So as far as the Huns are concerned, Uar warriors are seriously powerful, and or not Uar warriors, chosen Uar warriors. 100 morale, I mean that's insane. And then you look here, they have a slightly lesser version in their brethren here, but it goes all the way down to 45 morale, but still packing some serious heat in terms of melee attack. So still a sturdy option. And then even these boss run infantry may be more a little akin to Roman infantry with more health, armor, but less attack and charge bonus. So, I mean, the Huns have a pretty all-around roster here, and it's not bad at all. These 50 damage archers are pretty nice, but of course, archers are going to pale in comparison to crossbows when it comes to their effectiveness versus infantry. Archers could be pretty handy against cavalry or maybe other horse archers, and there are a few archer units in the game that have 200 range. The only ones I've seen so far have been Germanic archers, like elite Germanic archers. So I guess a few of those units could come in handy for certain reasons. But otherwise, I think even archers are pretty gimpy right now in what they can offer. Archers are good at killing crossbows, but crossbows are really the only thing with enough killing power to punch through infantry. Even then, there's a lot of units in this game that have a very nice missile block chance, and even they can, you know, make it very difficult for crossbows. So yeah, in any case, I hope you all enjoyed this. HeirofCarthage signing off for now. I'll be back with more battles soon.